Ammo's drying up, gun shops are packed, and people aren't just grabbing whatever's left. They're loading up on the pistols they know they can trust if things go sideways this year. What's up, everyone? This is Sully from Line45, and today we're breaking down the 10 pistols that are flying off the shelves in 2025. Because folks ain't waiting around to see what laws or shortages hit next. Before I start, I would really appreciate it if you would push those buttons below. The subscribe button, the notification bell, all of them. This is not necessary, but those little clicks help a brother out. Plus, it pushes me to give you more valuable car-related content on your screen. Now buckle up and let's get back to the video. Ruger Max 9. You don't walk into a big box store or a small town shop in 2025 without seeing the Ruger Max 9 sitting front and center. And that's because it hits the checklist for what most folks are looking to stash right now. It's chambered in 9mm, carries 10+1 or 12+1 rounds, and it's priced to move at around $379. For under $400, Ruger managed to give us a pistol that's optics-ready, lightweight, and surprisingly shootable for its size. It's built for real-world carry but fits the bill as a backup truck gun or emergency stash. The slide is through-hardened alloy steel with a black oxide finish, and the 3.2-inch barrel is cold hammer forged, giving you a better life and tighter groups than you'd expect from a pistol in this price range. The frame is glass-filled nylon, and Ruger textured it in a way that gives you a confident grip without overdoing it. The trigger's flat-faced with a clean break and short reset, and while it's not competition level, it's a hell of a step up from most budget-tier micro compacts. It also comes cut for Shield RMSC footprint optics, which means you can mount a Holosun 407K or Crimson Trace micro red dot without milling or adapter plates. Ruger even offers it in models with or without a manual thumb safety, so you can choose based on how you train or carry it. Sights are no slouch either. It ships with a fiber optic front and a drift adjustable rear. For the money, this thing brings a lot to the table, and that's exactly why it's become a go-to for folks building out their second or third defensive pistol. If you want something dead simple, reliable, and American-made, the Max 9 makes sense. Glock 43X MOS. You want to know why? The Glock 43X MOS is in damn near every glove box, waistband, and nightstand this year. It's because Glock finally figured out how to make something small enough to carry without giving up everything you actually want in a fight. I remember picking one up at a buddy's shop back in January, and that little gun just made sense the second I wrapped my hand around it. It's got a full 3-finger grip, takes Shield Arms 15-round mags, and still disappears under a hoodie. That's the magic combo right now. They didn't try to overbuild it. It's a 9mm with a 3.41-inch barrel, weighs under 19 ounces unloaded, and it's got Glock's NDLC finish on the slide that holds up better than most Cerakote jobs I've seen. The MOS cut on the top takes RMSC footprint optics, which means you can drop in a Holosun 407K or a Swamp Fox Sentinel without a custom plate. That's a big deal when you're trying to get a red dot on something this slim without sending it off to a shop for weeks. The trigger's nothing fancy, just classic Glock. Predictable pull-short reset and the kind of reliability that makes you stop thinking about it. I've dumped everything from cheap aluminum-cased ammo to +P hollow points through mine without a single hiccup. It's the kind of pistol you trust when stuff hits the fan or you're just making a late-night gas run. Now the next one brings a little more heat. CZ P10C. There's a reason I've seen more CZ P10. C's getting scooped up at shows and gun counters this year than just about anything not wearing a Glock logo. When folks ask me what 9mm I'd keep if I needed something dead, simple, dead reliable, and still tight enough to shoot fast under pressure, this is one of the first that comes to mind. CZ didn't just throw out another polymer frame pistol. They gave us a duty-grade gun that actually feels like it was built for shooters, not just to hit a price point. It rides that perfect middle ground. Not too big, not too small. You've got a 4.02-inch cold hammer forged barrel, 15+1 steel mags, and a grip that doesn't need some stippling job or talon wrap to work. The slide's nitrited beefy, where it needs to be, and slick enough to stay clean after a long weekend at the range. That frame geometry is classic CZ angled just right, so the sights land where your eyes are looking. Even the mag release and slide stop are ambidextrous out of the box, which matters more than folks admit when you're training offhand or sharing gear. Now the trigger. For a striker-fired gun. At this price, it's honestly one of the better ones you'll find. Short take-up, clean break, crisp reset. You won't be swapping springs or filing anything. It just works. I've seen guys dump mag after mag through this thing and keep every shot in the A zone without thinking twice. And when you tack on the optics-ready variant, you've got a workhorse that's future-proof. Next up, though, we're dialing it back a bit in size. Still striker-fired, still red dot ready, but way easier to carry when you're out and about. Canik TP9 Elite SC. The way Canik builds a 9mm makes you stop and take a second look, even if you weren't planning to. The TP9 Elite SC punches way above its weight, and by that I mean it's priced like a budget pistol, but shoots like something you'd see in a competition holster. We're talking around $430 yet. It ships with a match-grade barrel optics-ready slide and an aluminum flat-face trigger that feels tuned out of the box. No fluff, no upcharges, just everything already in the box, including the red dot plates and an inside-the-waistband holster. This is a subcompact built for carry, but it handles like a range gun. The grip texturing locks in tight without chewing up your hands, and the undercut trigger guard gives you that extra bit of control during rapid fire. The mags are solid, one 12-rounder that sits flush and a 15-round extended that gives you a full grip without the pinch. It comes with Warren tactical sights that line up clean and fast, especially paired with a dot like the Holosun 407K. The frame is reinforced polymer, no surprise there, but the internals are where it counts. That trigger is smooth and crisp with a short reset, and you feel it every time you're sending rounds downrange in quick strings. It handles 9mm well stays flat and clears malfunctions faster than you'd expect from anything under 500. People are stockpiling these because they're reliable, affordable, and don't feel like compromises. If you want something that carries light but fights hard, this is it. Now, if you're thinking more along duty grade, you better grab the next gun fast. Smith & Wesson M&P 9 Shield Plus isn't some trend gun. It's a direct answer to what carry folks kept asking for after running the older single stacks into the ground. I picked mine up not because it was hyped, but because I'd watched enough shooters run them flat at the range with zero drama. It's a 9mm with either a 10 or 13-round mag, and somehow Smith & Wesson figured out how to fit all that in a grip that still prints less than most compact Glocks. The frame is polymer, yeah, but it doesn't feel cheap. It feels like it was made to be part of your day-to-day without a thought. The barrel is 3.1 inches striker fired, and the trigger is one of the cleanest I've felt from S&W. Flat-face crisp break, and it resets fast enough to stay on target during drills. You've got steel sights right out of the box, and if you grab the optics-ready model mounting something like a Holosun 407K is plug and play. The texturing hits that right balance, too grippy enough to shoot well, but soft enough to carry without chewing up your skin. This is the kind of pistol you carry because you actually trust it, not because someone told you it was the next big thing. It's reliable, easy to conceal, and dead on at the distances that matter. I know guys stocking up on these just to have spares, because they're that confident in them. But if you're eyeing something with a threaded barrel optics cuts and the kind of modularity you only get from a true duty-sized compact, don't skip what's coming next. Springfield Armory Hellcat Pro Comp OSP. It's wild how many people I've seen walking out of shops with a Hellcat Pro Comp OSP box under one arm and 2 extra mags in the other. And honestly, I get it. Springfield didn't just toss a compensator on this thing for the show. They cut it straight into the slide and barrel like they meant business. You're running 9mm through a compact that holds 15 in the mag, gives you nearly full-size control, and actually manages to keep muzzle rise in check without needing a threaded barrel or extra parts hanging off the end. I've run drills with it side by side against other micro compacts, and you feel the difference in your hands after the second or third shot. That built-in single port up front does just enough to flatten your string without turning the blast into a distraction. It has got a 3.7-inch hammer-forged barrel, sits just over 6.5 inches long, and the grip is that same slim 1-inch width they've dialed in on the Hellcat line. Carrying it feels like a single stack shooting. It feels like something bigger. The OSP cut lets you drop in a Holosun 507K or anything else in that RMSC footprint family. I ran mine with irons for a bit, and Springfield's U-Dot setup still tracks fast. The flat trigger has a clean wall and a short reset, and it doesn't feel like something you need to replace right away. Plus, the grip texture gives you enough bite to stay locked in without rubbing you raw when it rides inside the waistband all day. If you're serious about a carry gun that actually handles heat and speed like a bigger pistol, this one checks out. But if you'd rather get into something with a longer barrel and a cold hammer-forged slide that favors both carry and duty roles, the next one is going to be your lane. Glock 19 Gen 5. Ask any gun store clerk what keeps flying out the case in 2025, and odds are they'll point straight to the Glock 19 Gen 5. And that's no surprise. You've got a pistol that hits the perfect middle ground for carry-home defense and duty use with a track record that's hard to argue against. It runs around $620 to $600, and that's before you start tacking on optics or light setups. But even bone stock, it's still the standard. A lot of folks measure others against. This Gen 5 version dropped the finger grooves from the previous models and gave us a better grip texture that works well wet or dry. It's got a 4.02-inch barrel with Glock's Marksman barrel upgrade, which is a match-grade polygonal rifling setup that tightens up accuracy without needing anything aftermarket. The slide and internals are finished in Glock's NDLC coating, which holds up against holster wear, sweat, and grime. One of the most noticeable changes is the ambidextrous slide stop and flared mag well, which actually makes reload smoother and more intuitive, even if you're not doing tactical drills every weekend. Capacity is 15 plus 1 rounds, and it takes the same mags you probably already have lying around from older models. Internally, the recoil system has been refined. The trigger is more consistent out of the box, and the modularity stays unbeatable. From night sights to red dots and threaded barrels, you can build this thing into whatever setup you're chasing. And it just runs. No nonsense, no drama, just a pistol that does its job every time. Next up is something extremely hot and popular. Sig Sauer P365 XMacro. You start sending 9mm rounds through the P365 XMacro, and it hits you quickly. This thing isn't trying to just be a carry gun. It shoots like a bigger pistol, but carries something half its size. Folks from Sig really leaned into that idea and gave folks everything they've been asking for. A slim frame, full grip, real capacity, and a built-in comp that actually works without throwing off the balance. I've run mine through drills where most compacts start to climb and drift, but the XMacro stays planted and fast. It holds 17 plus 1 in a frame that still slips into an IWB holster without printing, and that grip module fits like they modeled it off a competition setup. It's part of the P365 family, so you've got that modular fire control unit you can swap across slides and frames. But this one feels purpose-built. The compensators cut right into the slide and barrel. No threads, no extra hardware, just clean gas venting that keeps the muzzle flat. Combine that with Sig's recoil tuning, and you've got a pistol that makes quick doubles feel natural. The XMacro uses its flat-face trigger, which breaks right where it should, and it's optics ready for anything running the RMSC footprint. I tossed a Holosun EPS carry on mine and never looked back. The X-Ray 3 sights still co-witness just fine and hold up to daily abuse. Price sits in that upper 700 range. But when you're looking at what you're getting, most shooters, I think it's worth every penny. This is what folks are stockpiling because it's versatile, controllable, and ready to go right out of the box. And finally, FN 509. Tactical. FN didn't build the 509 Tactical for casual range days or light-duty carry. This thing was born from military contract trials, and when you start running 9mm through it, you can tell. It feels overbuilt in the best way possible. The barrel's cold hammer forged 4.5 inches long, threaded for a can, and topped with a thread protector that doesn't walk loose like the cheap ones. I've run mine suppressed with 147 grain subs, and it cycles clean without needing to swap recoil springs or tweak anything. The slide comes optics ready and uses FN's low-profile optics mounting system, which might be one of the most flexible setups I've worked with. I dropped a hollow sun on it without hunting down extra plates or making adjustments. Tall night sights come standard and co-witness right out of the box, no nonsense. The finish on the slide is PVD, and it holds up better than most coatings when you're doing high-volume training or holster work. That frame texture grabs your hand and doesn't let go even when you're sweating or wearing gloves. FN ships it with a 17-round flush mag and two 24-round extended mags. That 24+1 loadout gives you rifle-level capacity without touching a drum. Controls are fully ambi and actually usable. You don't need to be a lefty to appreciate how intuitive everything feels when you're reloading or clearing malfunctions under pressure. This is the kind of pistol folks are buying not just to shoot, but to keep. It's a stash it, trust it, no grades needed type of setup. And for those of us who care about suppressed shooting red dots and real-world performance, it checks every box.